The film begins in Germania in 180 AD, and we currently see the Roman army led by General Maximus preparing for war against the barbarian tribes in Germania. The important thing is that Maximus sends back the messenger of the barbarian tribes to agree to surrender, but the messenger returns on his horse without his head because the tribes killed him. After that, the tribes appear and they have the head of the messenger and are now ready for war. In Maximus's view, he begins to motivate his soldiers and the war starts immediately. The Roman soldiers begin to fire catapults at these tribes to set the forest they are fortified in on fire. At the same time, Maximus and his soldiers start attacking the tribes and killing them. The battle continues for a long time, and during this war, we see Maximus's immense strength in combat. As usual, Maximus and his men manage to win the battle in the end. The Roman Emperor Marcus is present, by the way, and he witnesses this battle, feeling very happy that his army has won. After the battle ends, Marcus goes to Maximus and asks him what he wishes for as a reward for winning the battle. Maximus reveals that he desires freedom to go to his wife and son and live with them because Maximus, my friend, is originally Spanish. You could say he is a general in the army and everything, but not by choice. It's important that Marcus knows he is thinking about the matter and responds to him. On the other side, at the same time, we see the crown prince, Maximus's son named Commodus, who is currently in a carriage with his sister Lucilla, and they are talking together. From their conversation, we learn that they are coming by order of their father, Emperor Marcus, who requested to meet them. Commodus now tells his sister that their father, Marcus, is very ill, and that's why he called them, to ensure that Commodus knows he is the heir in all circumstances. After a while, Commodus arrives at the battlefield, meets his father Marcus, greets him, and congratulates him on the victory. Marcus then tells him that he must congratulate Maximus because he was the one who achieved the victory. Commodus congratulates him and notices that Marcus doesn't really like him much and continues to embarrass him because he doesn't fight like Maximus. On the same night, there is a celebration for the victory that took place. During this celebration, Commodus comes and takes Maximus to introduce him to 2 senators of the Roman Empire. Afterwards, Commodus talks to Maximus and informs him that his father will die very soon and that he will be the emperor in his place. He wants Maximus to help him get rid of the Senate and its members because they always have the power to oppose the emperor. Maximus tells him that he is not interested in any of that and that he is waiting for Emperor Marcus to grant him his freedom so he can return to his wife. Of course, this annoys Commodus a lot, but he doesn't comment. He just informs Maximus that his sister Lucilla is here and that she still loves him like before. This is because in the past, Maximus and Lucilla had a love story, but it ended. The next day, Marcus becomes upset with Maximus, so he actually goes to Maximus. At that moment, Marcus gets straight to the point and tells Maximus that he wants to appoint him as the protector of Rome instead of Commodus' son because Commodus is very incompetent. He doesn't know how to run the country. Marcus knows that he personally summoned Commodus to inform him, confident that he will agree. Maximus tells Marcus that he does not wish to be the protector of Rome. His sole aim is to gain his freedom and live peacefully with his wife and son. However, Marcus refuses this request and insists that he is the most suitable person for this important role and that he will indeed be able to protect the country. Marcus also tells him that he has the entire day to contemplate and inform him of his final decision. Maximus sticks to his words and leaves. As he walks away, Maximus meets Lucilla and they start talking about the old days. Lucilla reveals that her husband has died and that she currently has a son named Lucius, who is 8 years old. It seems that Lucilla is hinting at rekindling their past relationship, but Maximus tells her that he is married and has a wife and child, and it is not possible for him to be with her or marry her. He bids her farewell and leaves. After some time, Marcus meets with Commodus' son and learns that he will not become emperor because he cannot hold such a position. He also learns that Maximus will not be the protector of the country for a certain period until the Senate decides on a way to govern the country. After that, the imperial system will end and the country will become a republic where the people govern themselves. Commodus is upset and sees that his father is taking away his right to be emperor. Because of this, Commodus approaches his father Marcus and pretends to hug him, but he suffocates him until he dies in his arms. Afterward, one of the soldiers goes to inform Maximus that Commodus wants to see him, so Maximus rushes to see what's happening and discovers that Commodus is waiting and learns that the emperor has died. Maximus immediately realizes that Commodus is the one who killed him, and therefore he leaves the place to figure out what to do next. However, Maximus can't do anything because a group of soldiers, led by a soldier named Quintus, who happens to be Maximus's lifelong friend, comes to arrest him. This shocks Maximus, and he instantly understands that Commodus has decided to remove him from the path. In his despair, Maximus asks Quintus to take care of his wife and son, Feeling that he is about to be killed, Quintus surprises him by revealing that his wife and son are already dead, also by order of Commodus. Maximus is utterly shocked and collapses, but then another group of soldiers takes him to a place in the forest to execute him. However, Maximus doesn't let them do that and immediately starts fighting them with all his strength. He grabs a sword from one of them and continues to kill all the soldiers. Although he injures his arm during the battle, he manages to finish them all off. After that, Maximus takes a horse and sets off on the road home, determined to bury his wife and son. When he arrives home, he is shocked to find his wife and son murdered, their bodies hanging, which deeply shocks him. He cries over them out of immense grief, and due to the injury in his arm, he can't bear all of this and collapses. As Maximus regains consciousness, he finds himself in a cart with many people, and we learn that all these people are slaves, and they found Maximus and took him with them. After a while, they arrive at a city called Zucabar, and the slave trader who took Maximus goes to a person named Proximo. He presents all the slaves he has, including Maximus, to Proximo. Proximo buys Maximus and another slave named Juba, who was also with the trader. After that, Proximo takes everyone to the arena and informs them that they will now be his slaves and will work as gladiators in the fighting pits. One of the gladiators owned by Proximo, named Hagen, starts training them. Hagen fights with Juba and finds him to be a very good fighter. Then he fights with Maximus. But Maximus does not want to become a slave and must fight because he is different and earns from it, so he cannot train properly. Maximus participates in his first fight against his will, and it is a very strange fight where Maximus enters the battle tied to Juba, so they fight together. There are many gladiators in the place fighting, including Hagen, and we see, by the way, that Proximo is watching all of this now and betting on Maximus to win. The fight continues, and Maximus, Juba, and Hagen keep fighting the gladiators in front of them. They continue to battle fiercely with great strength and courage. The fight ends, and the ones left alive are Maximus, Juba, and Hagen only. From here on, everyone starts to see that Maximus is a strong and formidable fighter. Meanwhile, on the other side, at the same time, we see that Commodus arrives in Rome with his sister Lucilla, receiving a warm welcome from the entire populace because he is about to take over all responsibilities as emperor from this moment on. Commodus now goes to the senators and greets them. Among these senators is a person named Falco, who is loyal to Commodus, and another person named Gracchus, who is very much against Commodus and believes he is unfit to be an emperor. In a meeting, Gracchus tells Commodus there are many problems in the country, such as the plague spreading. However, Commodus responds this issue is not crucial, and there are other matters more crucial that everyone should pay attention to. This angers Gracchus, who gets upset with Commodus for not understanding his duties. This frustrates Commodus, and he almost threatens Gracchus with consequences, but Lucilla and the others present manage to calm the situation. Lucilla takes Commodus and they leave, returning to the palace. There, Lucilla tells Commodus to listen to Gracchus and all the members of the Senate as they want the best for Rome and its people. However, Commodus has a different opinion and believes that the Senate should be completely dissolved because they are always a potential threat to him. He fears that they might abolish the empire and turn the country into a republic. Commodus informs Lucilla he has a plan to execute to distract the people. In this way, he plans to entertain the people and keep the Senate at bay. The next day, my friend noticed that flyers were being distributed everywhere, announcing that the great arena in Rome would reopen and host gladiator contests for 150 days a year. These games and contests used to cost the empire a lot in the past, which is why Marcus, Commodus's father, had completely banned them. But currently, Commodus is bringing them back to distract the people and see what he can do with the Senate in the meantime. Meanwhile, in other areas, Maximus is preparing himself for the new fight. Proximo approaches him and talks to him, expressing his frustration that Maximus kills his opponents in the arena immediately and doesn't put on a show to captivate the audience. He asks Maximus not to just kill right away when he enters the arena, as that doesn't please the audience. But Maximus doesn't care about any of this, and when he enters the new fight, he continues to kill all the fighters against him. He manages to finish them all off and wins effortlessly. After this fight ends, Proximo calls Maximus to his room, and they learn that they will go to Rome to fight. They understand that Maximus must prove himself there, as the emperor might grant him his freedom, and he would no longer be a gladiator slave under Proximo. They tell him and swear to him that once he was a fighter just like him, but Emperor Marcus gave him the wooden sword, which granted him his freedom. Of course, my friend Maximus during this conversation knows that Emperor Commodus is currently the new emperor, so he finds it difficult to do the same. However, he decides to go to Rome and fight there as well, hoping that he might gain his freedom somehow. At the very least, he hopes to confront Emperor Commodus and get justice for what was done to him. In any case, a few days after all this, Maximus, Juba, Hagen, Proximo, and many other gladiators arrive in Rome. They now stand in front of the famous arena called the Colosseum, and they can't believe that they will be fighting in such a place. Meanwhile, we see Commodus and his nephew Lucius. Commodus he thinks about the first topic. Then, the message comes to Maximus, and she informs him that Gracchus has been arrested and that he must escape because Commodus now knows everything and certainly won't let it go. She leaves the message and goes home. There she finds Commodus sitting with her son Lucius. Commodus reveals he knows everything, and if she plots again, she will face consequences. After that, we see that soldiers loyal to Commodus go to Proximo's residence and his gladiators, intending to eliminate them all, especially Maximus. So, this spirit goes to Proximo for Maximus, gives him the key to the room where he and all the gladiators are. Maximus decides to escape, but asks the gladiators to distract the soldiers. They agree. Maximus leaves them and escapes. The soldiers attack Proximo and his gladiators, killing Proximo and others. They then capture Juba and the remaining gladiators to decide their fate. After that, Maximus goes to join the other soldiers and start a war, but Maximus is shocked to find that this soldier has been killed. Suddenly, Commodus' soldiers appear and capture him. But my lord takes the prison, and Commodus comes to Maximus. Without any preamble, he pulls out a knife and inflicts a serious wound on him. Commodus then orders his men to dress Maximus in armor because he will fight immediately in the arena in front of everyone. We understand that Commodus, Weish, wants to kill Maximus in front of all the people so that they will love Commodus as they love Maximus and to diminish Honezmatza Maximus in their eyes. Of course, Commodus plans to fight Maximus in this condition. So that he cannot fight and dies, Maximus, my friend, fights Commodus with all his strength. Maximus defeats Commodus despite his injury. Then, my friend, Maximus speaks while dying, publicly. He requests freeing his gladiator friends like Juba from prison, and for honest politicians to also be freed. He urges reformers to improve the country. For real, which Commodus destroyed, and he finishes his speech, and he dies in one of the saddest scenes ever. And that's it, sir. Events pass, time goes by, and we learn that Numidia is considered the last city standing in Africa and hasn't yet fallen under Roman rule. Currently, we get to know a person named Hanno. We learn that Hanno is one of the soldiers of Numidia, and Hanno is currently with his wife Arisha, who is also one of the soldiers of the city of Numidia. The important thing is that the current ruler of Numidia is named Uganda. He gathers all his soldiers, and Uganda informs them that they must prepare for war as the Roman ships are coming to attack them. Everyone starts getting ready. Hanno begins to ready the soldiers and oversees all their preparations for the battle, encouraging them and so on. We see the massive Roman fleet approaching the city of Numidia, intending to attack it. Leading this fleet is a general named Acacius. Anyway, after a relatively short period, Acacius arrives with his fleet at the walls of the city of Numidia, and without any preliminaries, one of the fiercest battles begins. The soldiers of Numidia start using catapults to strike the Roman ships in order to destroy them, but the ships advance until they reach the city, and now General Acacius leads his soldiers and engages in a bloody battle with the soldiers of Numidia. Hanno is fighting with the Roman soldiers, and violence erupts. Amidst all this, Arisha, Hanno's wife, aids Acacius by shooting him with an arrow, which infuriates Acacius. The Romans retaliate by shooting Arisha, and one of them hits her badly. In Arisha's final moments, she looks at them because he is the one who wins the war. The scene ends with Acacius and Arisha filled with sorrow and shock. Arisha was found dead in the water, and before Hanno could even comprehend what had happened, a Roman soldier came and struck him from behind, causing him to fall into the sea as well. At that moment, Hanno begins to imagine, envisioning his wife Arisha in front of him. People arrive on a boat, take her, and leave. Hanno keeps calling out to her, but she can't hear him. Friend, this is all a dream, but it signifies that she has indeed passed away. After all that happened, Hanno regains consciousness to find that the battle has ended. The Romans, led by General Acacius, have occupied the city, and Hanno himself is being captured. While being apprehended, he sees the body of his wife Arisha and tries to reach her, but the soldiers prevent him. Subsequently, Acacius burns all the bodies of those who died in the battle, and Hanno, along with many others who were captured, including Uganda, the city's leader, is taken away. They are placed on a ship, and from that moment on, they are treated as slaves. Acacius then sets off with Hanno and all those who were captured, heading towards Rome. It doesn't take long before they actually arrive in Rome, where almost the entire populace is waiting to celebrate Acacius for this great victory. Leading the people are the emperors Geta and Caracalla, who are currently the rulers of Rome. Unfortunately, the rule of emperors in Rome hasn't ended as Lucilla had hoped. At this time, Rome is ruled by two emperors, as we mentioned, Geta and Caracalla. Now both of them are praising Acacius in front of all the people for the great victory he achieved. After the ceremony ended, Geta and Caracalla spoke with Acacius and informed him that there would be gladiatorial games and other events held in his honor. Acacius refuses because he sees it as wasteful and simply asks Geta and Caracalla to let him live with his wife. However, they refuse, saying the games will be held in his honor and he will keep serving them as he will fight in their name elsewhere. So, he should forget about his dream of living with his wife. Then, Acacius agrees, upset but compliant. After that, Acacius leaves the meeting. Lucilla, the sister of Commodus, is a friend, and she is now speaking with Acacius. From their conversation, we learn that Acacius is not fond of either Geta or Caracalla. He is supposed to be speaking with Lucilla now to gather his forces, who will soon return from Media, and at that time he will fight against Geta and Caracalla, giving them a significant blow. On the other hand, Hanno, Ogenda, and the rest of the soldiers arrive at the arena of a slave trader named Macrinas. Macrinas decides to hold a fight, to test the strength of Hanno and his companions to see who among them is suitable to be a gladiator. Indeed, Hanno, Ogenda, and their group enter the fighting arena, and a group of ferocious monkeys is released upon them, and the battle begins with everyone. Macrinas, by the way, is sitting and watching all of this. During this brutal fight, unfortunately, Ogenda dies. As for Hanno, he continues to fight fiercely with one of the monkeys until he manages to kill it, enduring immense hardship in the process. Macrinas is very impressed with Hanno, so he asks his very strong assistant, Beagle, to fight with Hanno. Hanno indeed fights with him, exchanging blows, left and right, and Hanno manages to defeat Beagle. At this point, Macrinas is convinced that he truly has a great fighter, in front of a very strong fighter. So Macrinas sits with Hanno privately and tells Hanno that he wants him to fight in his name for Rome, and whatever he wants, he will get. Hanno tells him that he only wants one thing, to kill Acacius because he occupied his city and killed his wife Coratia. Macrinas informs him that if he fights in his name for Rome and proves himself, he will fulfill his dream and bring Acacius to him to kill. At this moment, Hanno is very happy, gets excited, and agrees to fight for Rome. And that's it, my friend. Macrinas takes Hanno and Macrinas goes to a merchant friend and talks with him, agreeing to arrange a fight between Hanno and a fighter from Macrinas' friend in a place where the emperors Geta and Caracalla are present. This is so they can see the warriors and choose one of them to fight in the Colosseum, the most important fighting arena in all of Rome, where the great Maximus used to fight. In due time, Macrinas' friend indeed goes to the emperors Geta and Caracalla and requests the fight. They agree, and now Hanno enters to fight with the most important fighter from Macrinas' friend. The fight is truly intense, but Hanno manages to finish it by stabbing his opponent in the stomach, defeating him. At that moment, everyone is amazed by his great strength, including Geta and Caracalla. Then he talks with Hanno and learns that he wants to fight in the Colosseum, which makes both Hanno and Macrinas very happy. On the same night, we see Lucilla going to a secret place, where Acacius and a group of senators are present, including Gracchus, my friend if you remember, because he was one of Emperor Marcus's men, Lucilla's father. He was also present in the Senate. Now Acacius is talking with Lucilla and all the senators, and they learn about his plan, which is to overthrow Caracalla and Geta on the last day of the games by entering the Colosseum with his army and eliminating Geta and Caracalla, thus ending their rule. The senators are very afraid of Acacius's plan because it is dangerous, but they agree with him. The next day, the games begin in the Colosseum, attended by everyone: Geta, Caracalla, Acacius, and also Lucilla. The massive audience keeps cheering for Acacius for his victory in Numidia, which obviously irritates them. Then Hanno enters, along with other gladiators, to start the fight. A strong gladiator enters with a spear and begins to kill everyone with his spear, but Hanno is not easy to defeat. He creates a cloud of dust and manages to knock him down, the fighter with the spear. After that, this fighter keeps hitting him repeatedly. And during this battle, Lucilla keeps looking at Hanno and keeps remembering Maximus a lot, because Hanno is literally fighting exactly like him. Here, we understand why Lucilla remembered Maximus at this particular moment. Anyway, the fight continues between Hanno and the fighter until eventually Hanno manages to stab him in the stomach, then slashes his neck, finishing him off, to the applause of everyone present. After this battle, Lucilla, my friend, continues to reminisce about the old days. So we go back to the past and learn that Lucilla had her son Lucius escape with the help of Maximus back in the day. We remember, my friend, that Lucilla had her son Lucius escape because Commodus was considering killing him since he was the only heir to the Roman throne. That's why Lucilla had him escape. Now, Lucilla is very suspicious that Hanno, the one who fought in front of her, might actually be her son Lucius. Consequently, Lucilla now believes Macrinas and keeps asking him where he got Hanno from. When Lucilla learns that he is from Numidia, she becomes quite certain that he is indeed her son Lucius, because when she had Lucius escape back in the day, she sent him to Numidia. Anyway, before Macrinas leaves Lucilla, he notices a statue she has and asks her who it is of. She tells him that it is a statue of her father, Emperor Marcus, but in his youth. Macrinus is shocked as the statue resembles Hanno, and he starts to suspect that Hanno might be Lucilla's son. He wonders why this is the case. Macrinus then goes to his friend and they drink together. Macrinus asks him about Lucilla, and the merchant tells him that Lucilla had her son escape to Numidia a long time ago. Her son is supposed to be the heir to the Roman throne and is the son of a prince whom Lucilla was married to in the past. But everyone says that this is the son of Lucilla and Maximus because they were in love, and it is said that they secretly got married. Macrinus is very troubled by all of this and suspects that he might actually have the Roman emperor with him, who is none other than Hanno. Now, we move to Lucilla, who is currently going to Gracchus. He takes her secretly and leads her to Hanno's room. Lucilla enters and sits with Hanno, expressing her strong suspicion that he is her son Lucius. Hanno now confirms to her that he is indeed her son Lucius, whom she abandoned many years ago. And the fact is, Hanno already knows that he is Lucius, because when Lucilla hid him away in the past, he was already grown, about 12 years old, so he was somewhat aware and understood everything. Now Lucilla also tells him that he is her son, and Maximus is Lucius's friend, or rather, Hanno is the son of Lucilla and Maximus, not the son of Lucilla and the other prince. The important thing is that Lucilla keeps telling Hanno that she loves him very much. But he tells her he isn't her son Lucius, and that she abandoned him in the past, so he is upset with her and doesn't want to know her. Then Hanno screams at her and asks her to leave and never show her face again. She does that and leaves the place, very sad. When Lucilla leaves Hanno, she finds Acacius in front of her, and at that moment she tells Acacius that Hanno is her son Lucius. Acacius is shocked, but despite that, he reassures him that very soon he will help him escape from here and bring him to live with him. The next day, my friend, there is a new competition. Hanno and his team of Macrinus fighters participate in this competition. This competition, in short, involves Hanno and his team boarding a ship while another team boards a different ship, and they all descend into the Colosseum arena, which is filled with water. They start moving around in their ship, shooting arrows at each other and trying to eliminate one another. The water is filled with sharks, so anyone who falls in gets eaten. The battle begins, and the opposing team starts shooting arrows at Hanno and his men. But Hanno and his men are unfazed and continue to approach the opponent's ship until they collide with them. Then everyone starts fighting, and Hanno deftly kills them left and right. Amidst all this, Hanno manages to reach a similar position and finds Acacius in front of him. He shoots an arrow to kill him, but every time the arrow heads towards Acacius, it ends up near Geta. The competition is halted, and the day ends. Afterward, we see Macrinus going to meet his merchant friend, and we learn that Macrinus has money with this merchant. He asks the merchant to give him important information in exchange for this money. It turns out that this merchant is a member of the Senate and is aware of the conspiracy between Acacius and Lucilla. Now Macrinus knows everything, and he seizes the opportunity to inform Geta and Kitsila, who immediately arrest Lucilla and Acacius. After that, Geta talks to Macrinus and asks him what they should do with them. Macrinus suggests that they don't need to kill Acacius, but instead have him participate in the games and die in combat. Geta agrees, and the next day is a new day for the games as usual. Geta and Kitsila come to watch these games, and they also forcibly bring Lucilla to watch with them. The day begins, and Acacius enters to fight against a group of soldiers. Acacius is very upset because these soldiers used to work under him, so Acacius withdraws from them and begins to fight, continuing to kill them one after the other. He finishes them all off with great skill, but while genuinely upset, Hanno enters and starts a battle with Acacius. Hanno is very strong, and of course Acacius is angry because of what Hanno did to his country. He fights him with all his might, but Acacius doesn't continue the fight. Instead, he throws down his sword and tells Hanno that he knows his life well and knows that he is the son of Lucilla and Maximus, and that's why he won't fight him. Acacius informs him that he wasn't occupying his city of his own will, but by the orders of Mangita and Caracalla. And that's why he actually wants to get rid of them to stop their war and destroy the country for no reason. And they want to take Acacius's state from Hanno and kill him, but Hanno refuses and throws down his sword as well, deciding not to kill. This, of course, angers Geta, who immediately orders his guards to shoot Acacius with arrows. They do so, and Acacius dies in a scene that is incredibly sad. Hanno seizes the opportunity and tells everyone that the one who was killed was a hero of their people, and they shouldn't rejoice in his death. The people become very angry because of Hanno's words and start chanting against Geta and Caracalla. Consequently, they withdraw from the place. After this happens, Macrinus goes to Geta and Caracalla, and we learn that the entire populace is against them and a solution is needed. Amidst all this, Caracalla is not interested at all and is busy playing with his monkey. To be honest, Caracalla is somewhat crazy, my friend, and not very sensible, so his actions shouldn't be taken too seriously. The important thing is that Geta gets angry with him and leaves. So Macrinus talks to Caracalla and tells him that Geta wants to blame everything on him in front of the people and have them kill him so that he can rule alone. And because Caracalla, as we mentioned, is crazy, he believes Macrinus's words and goes to Geta, intending to kill him. However, Caracalla can't bring himself to do it, but then Macrinus comes and takes Caracalla's hand, forcing him to kill Geta. And Macrinus, by the way, did this so that he could easily control Caracalla, and thus take control of the entire empire. What Macrinus wanted happened exactly as planned, because the very next day, Macrinus enters the Senate with Caracalla, and Caracalla announces that Macrinus is now one of the emperors ruling Rome, just like Geta. Of course, everyone was very shocked by this strange decision, but everyone reluctantly greeted Macrinus. From that moment, Macrinus was considered the great emperor of the entire place. To assert his control over everyone, Macrinus now brings Geta's head and makes it known that anyone who betrays him will meet the same fate. It includes everything more and more, and they realize that Macrinus is not easy to deal with. At the same time, we see Nucilla going to Hanno and learning that Acacius had prepared an army to overthrow Geta and Cacalla, and that the army can be summoned. She knows that she must send the ring to the commander of Acacius's army. He will come and fight alongside Hanno, and Hanno communicates with Acacius Kinawi, and Hanno agrees. The day of the new competitions arrives as usual, with Kinawi, Macrinus, and generally everyone attending. We learn that today's competition will involve them entering the arena, followed by many soldiers, and Hanno must try to save them. Currently, Hanno is speaking with Macrinus's men and asks him to take the ring to Acacius's army, where he will come and fight alongside him. As the man takes the ring and goes to the leader of Acacius's army and presents the ring, the leader decides to fight immediately with Hanno. At the same time, Macrinus's assistant comes to take Hanno to the competition, where Hanno strikes him and the soldiers with him.